Annyeonghaseyo, namaste, however you say hello, hello. In my last video, I gave you guys an apartment tour. I went through student housing apartments at UC Davis, and a couple of you had some questions, and it was a lot of information to give to you guys in the comments, so I decided I would just make a separate video, and hopefully this will help you guys kind of understand the process a little bit better. I'm just going to try and walk you guys through the process in a very general sense and not too detailed. I might give some examples from my personal experience, but other than that, I'm going to try and keep it as general as possible since there is a lot of information out there on the student housing website. So student housing apartments will communicate with you through email, and the first important email that I received was on the 11th of July 2017, and it just says, you know, thank you for choosing UC Davis student housing, and then it gives the apartment complexes that you have to choose from. So that is Arlington Farm, the Lexington, the Colleges at LaRue, Primero Grove Apartments, whoop whoop, West Village, and Adobe Apartments. Okay, so step one, you want to choose how many roommates you have. Certain apartment complexes do have programs, you know, to help you find a roommate at their apartment, or there's this great tool called RoomSync. I would recommend that you use that if you are looking for a roommate and you're kind of specific. I did not want a roommate, so I did do that at first, and there were people who wanted to you know, get an apartment with me, but I decided to forego that since I'm pretty independent. But if you do want a roommate, I would definitely recommend that resource for you. Step two, pick an apartment. There's a lot of information out on the internet, of course, so make sure you check out all those apartments, check out how many bedrooms they have available. Some of them only have like 3 and 4 bedrooms available, or 2 and 3, so just make sure that the apartment complex that you want is going to accommodate what your needs are. So I would say look at things like distance from the campus, you know, what's your transportation gonna look like, and also check out the apartment in person if you are able to. Call ahead and ask them when they will be doing tours, and I would recommend that you go see them. Always check on what is a priority for you in the apartment that you want to live in. And then of course, price. By the way, you guys, price is the same throughout all the student housing apartments if you're going through student SHA. There's a chart online. Check it out. I think it's on their website. It'll say what the price is for, like, let's say for me, I was a person who wanted to be a single occupant in a 1-bedroom, so it'll say like how much it costs for a single occupant in a 1-bedroom, or a double occupant in a 1-bedroom. So I'm gonna put like a little chart somewhere here on what is gonna cost less money and what's gonna cost you more money. Obviously, the more roommates you have, the less money you're gonna spend. If you want to be a double occupant, you're gonna spend less money, and things like that. And also meal plans also have an effect on the cost of living through student housing apartments. So just check out the chart, and then you will see what you're going to be paying. During the preview period, I'm just actually going to read a portion of this email because it says, what is preview and how does it work? Prior to the online self-selection period, you will have an opportunity to preview online the available units and their configuration. So this preview period is meant to give you and your roommate group, if you have one, time to view the apartments available and decide where you might like to select during self-selection. Preview is available through your student housing application. That's where you'll find it. You will get this email, and it'll send you a video tutorial on how to use the site where you're going to do self-selection. So during preview, you get to kind of preview how to use the site, and then you also get to see like the floor plan of all the apartment complexes and how many units they have available and what they have and how it's, you know, where it's laid out within the apartment complex. I hope that made sense. So during this time is when you want to write down all the apartments that you are interested in, right? All the apartment numbers. I wrote down literally every single 1-bedroom available in the apartment complex that I wanted, because I just didn't want to get stuck with something else or like try to frantically find another one. But I will say be very careful during this time to write down the exact room that you want and the building that it's in and the apartment complex that it's in, because just taking that extra time to try and click it during self-selection might make you not get it, okay? So this is the time when you need to really like plan what apartment you want and figure out what type of communication you're going to have with your roommates, so when self-selection comes, you're ready and you know what who's the designated person that's going to pick the room. Which brings us to step 4, self-selection. The site will crash or freeze at some point. Luckily I had my room before that happened, but just be patient, refresh the page, you know, wait a couple minutes, refresh it. This is normal, this always happens, and then of course it's very competitive, but just make sure that if you're like, let's say I'm in a group of 4 girls and we want to get a certain apartment, make sure that one person is designated to pick the apartment, because if not, then the moment that I reserve a room, let's say me and my best friend, we're both looking for apartments, and I'm like, oh, I found the one over here, I got it, and you get that one, so that we can pick which one we want. We're both going to be locked into the room for 15 minutes. I can't get out of the room to go jump into her room. So now, once that 15 minutes is over, I won't be able to get into that room, because now she has to re-reserve it, and you have to give a code to your roommate. So like, let's say I got this room and now I'm gonna reserve this room. Yes, I got the 4-bedroom that we wanted, you know, and then I put a code in, or they give you a code, and then I have to give that code to my roommates. They jump on, and then, you know, the room is reserved for you guys, and you have to put that code in to get into the room. You save the selection, and then that's it. Next step, you know, and then it just gives you like your confirmation number and things like that. But if not, then you're just gonna get in a huge mess if like I reserve a room here, and then they reserve a room, and they reserve a room. You can't get out of your own room to get into someone else's. I hope that makes sense also. Just make sure that you guys are kind of like on a conference call or all together. Communication is key when you have roommates and you're looking for an apartment. So just keep that in mind. And then another tip would be to connect your that yellow Ethernet cord like from your laptop straight into the modem. It makes your internet that much faster, and you will have the upper hand on someone who has Wi-Fi. That's how I got my room. I literally got it in 1 minute, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, did I get it? Did it just freeze? Like, what's going on? And then the site froze, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't get my room. And then I refreshed it, and I did. I just got it so quickly. I just couldn't believe it. Because I practiced using the feature during the preview period. So practice using the feature. They will send you the video tutorial in the 7th of July email that you will receive. Check it out, master it. You get to, you know, practice using it. So there's no better way to explain it than you actually using it hands-on. And then you'll definitely be prepared for self-selection, because it looks exactly the same as it does during the preview period, okay? And then, let's see, I just want to read you another portion of the email. I thought this was great. It says, during self-selection, make sure that you already have 5 of your top choices. This is especially important for those with roommate groups. It means that you will need to communicate with your roommates and decide your individual needs and wants, and come up with a couple of different assignment plans to best accommodate them. So consider things like room occupancy, the number of bathrooms, the complex, parking availability, amenities, apartment size. Also decide what items each of you are willing to budge on if your first choice for selection is unavailable. So, for example, who is willing to double up if need be? Are you willing to divide the roommate group to different apartments at the same or different complex to accommodate desired occupancy? Be sure to decide ahead of self-selection how you will communicate with your roommate group during the selection process. So just make sure that you guys are open and have options, you know, and if you have to split, well, then you're gonna have to split. Another topic I forgot to talk about is single versus double occupancy. A lot of people get confused with this, but single occupancy just means there's going to be 1 person per bedroom, not 1 person per apartment. 1 person per bedroom, and then double occupancy means that there are 2 people per bedroom. So you could have double occupancy in a 3-bedroom, and maybe 2 of those rooms are double occupant bedrooms, and then 1 of them is a single occupant bedroom. So just make sure, like, you could still be a single occupant and have roommates in your, I would call them housemates, and then roommates are the people that are in your room. So just make sure that you understand the difference, especially when you're picking a room, because, for example, I was looking for 1-bedroom apartments, and it'll say 1 bedroom available for a single occupant, but it's in a 4-bedroom apartment. Okay, so make sure that if you want to live by yourself in a 1-bedroom, make sure you're getting a 1-bedroom apartment that's a single occupancy, because there's also 1-bedroom apartments that have double occupancy. So just keep an eye out for that. And last but not least, step 5, move-in day. Okay, so my move-in day was September 23rd. You can probably expect move-in day sometime between there. This was for Primero Grove Apartments. That it does vary from apartment to apartment. So different apartment complexes move in on different days, but it should be sometime in September, okay? My contract ends August 6th, but I got out of my contract early because, you know, medical things were going on and I had to leave school early, but or else I would still be there. But other than that, the contract ends August 6th, which is after summer session 1. So if you want to go to school summer session 2, everyone is always subleasing their place after during the summer because they graduate, so you don't need to worry about that. There's always someone who's subleasing their apartment. Yeah, all the apartments are furnished. You can find all that information online on the student housing page. It'll tell you exactly what each apartment includes, and if they don't, then they give it to you in an email. Let's see what other emails I got. So that was on the 11th of July, and then the detailed instructions about self-selection, you'll get an email on the 24th of July, or around that time period, and it'll tell you like how to reserve your selected space during self-selection. And then the final email that I thought was really important was the UC Davis SHA move-in, what to bring, and then it tells you exactly what your apartment complex will include in each bedroom, and the living room, and the dining room, and the kitchen. And it does vary from apartment complexes, so you might get more, you might get less, and again, things might be different this year, so maybe they might include more updated furniture. I don't know, but if you guys want to check out how the Primero Grove apartments look, you can look at my first video that I posted, and I give you guys an apartment tour of how a 1-bedroom in Primero Grove looks like. And so the furniture that's in there is most likely going to be very similar to the furniture you will receive at any other complex. They're all kind of the same standard furnishings. So that's all the information I have for you guys. If you need any more information, there's so much information on the student housing site. And again, if you have any questions specific to your situation, you can always ask in the comments below and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. And if anything, I might make another video if you guys have questions about something other than student housing apartments, of course. So until next time, annyeong, alvida, goodbye.